All right, you guys hear me? Get this back. Sweet. All right, let's start in a bit. Kind of go over a few trades I took and why I took them. Let's see. Sweet. Okay. Everyone popping in right now. 6 people. That's good. If you have any questions too, just feel free to post them in the trade desk. Yeah, but today lots of chop in the morning. Um, Coming off a nice sell from overnight. We started to open up around the hourly bands, bottom band here. It made me definitely question the bull's ability to hold this level up, especially from overnight. We do have another RTH level here from NQ, and then as well as kind of holding the profile low, as I said earlier. During RTH was 37.45. I was looking for ES respectively to hold 37.45. In the morning, we took a few longs up against the open. The first one is around, I think, 418. And the reason why I took long against 418, which is damn near the bottom of the day, but we did definitely price extension to the downside. I do have extension levels at 250 from my session delta pivots that I have on my hourly chart. These are pre-drawn levels that I draw from every RTH into the next session. But we did see these strong buy imbalances double. I was looking for this basically to close that first hour, essentially to close green on the buy imbalances there. But for the open, we were kind of messing with this sell imbalance. And this is the zone I wanted to break out longs from initially. As I said it before, like in pre-market, lots of hourly sell imbalances here that you could have taken short, through the open and down to, I guess, the current IB, I guess, came back down. But we opened up essentially right between the um, S1 level and also another extension of the STP. So I know this is an area of interest for longs, especially with these buy imbalances down here forming. And I'm trying to bring up my other chart. Kind of messy here. Just kind of make this side by side comparison. Trying to bring this in. See that a little bit, a tad messy, but don't mind that. I think it's right here, 6. Yep, it's around here. It's my first area of longs. Definitely at around 6:45 my time, PSD, and I was looking at longs up against this level here, 416. I saw buy imbalances and the buy imbalances. I did see this hold. This is the 15-minute footprint. But what I'm essentially doing is matching up bounces with imbalances every single time. Like, I think it's an easier setup, easy way for, like, let's say the 5 minute or even the 15 minute when we're patient. Might get less signals on the 15 minute. Do like the scalp. So I might either hopping between the 5 minute footprint or even the 5 minute or 5K footprint. Maybe a little different. I'm trying to scroll back for you guys. But essentially, I'm looking for those confluences, right? My first trigger, my first train of thought is if I look at the hourlies, I see how strong they are. Um, the responsive buyers, I look at the tape, look at the DOM, and I'm seeing, is there bid support at that area? Is there something that I can lean against, for my longs? Of course, look at the tape as well. I see some confluence. My tape settings are pretty simple. I think it's, yeah, minimum 3, minimum trade size 3. Then I have a trade filter, like big sizes at 50. Pretty simple. But I'm looking for essentially these buying bounces to occur, like here on the 5 minute, around the same time ish. Yeah. But look for buying balances, pair that up with the hourlies, and that's triggered to go long or short. But we saw this big area opportunity here to go long again. I did long 418, took it for about 60 points, and came back down. I saw these massive buying balances again, at 8 o'clock. And I'm trying to scroll back for you guys. 8 o'clock is that, yeah, right here. This in there. I took this trade on my Traded account, Traded broker account. On this one, so buying bounces came again. These are stacked. These are heavily stacked. Lots of buyers interested in this area. I'm looking on the tape again. If I see that trigger, holy shit! He was fucking ripping. Fuck off. Yeah. These are bid and ask, bid ask ladder. If you're wondering about my imprint settings, I can show that later. But imbalance settings, I think starting at 350, 450, and then 550%. I think on Sierra chart it could be, like 3.5 or something like that, or some cases it's like 0.35, I guess. Diagonal, yeah. I tell everybody, to make it a little easier. I mean, instead of reading straight across, to read straight across rather than the diagonal. Like if you're just like looking at a glance, especially on the 5 minute, for example, or 5K, it's kind of hard to read diagonally. But simplistic sake, like I just read it straight across. Although the proper way is to read diagonally, but at a glance, it's easier to say that that's a marked zone right there. This 485, 478 is what you're targeting, or is what you're trying to hold for these buy imbalances here to hold. And if I were along there, so this confluence in this area again, like this 485 area, taking longs against that, your stop would have been either below the next candle below or below buy imbalances. So my stop's going to be a little bit tighter, but depending on where the nearest support is where my stop would be, essentially, like below support, or below interest, buying interest. You have all these two kind of supporting the thesis of long, so they're kind of hoping they hold. But we do have the open 30-second opening range, high and low support again. But I'm really meant to take like tighter stops. When NQ does do its thing, it does do its thing, and I don't want to get bit. So I do have tighter stops sometimes, especially when it's congested like this. But my setups are super simple. Like I said, I'm looking for areas of opportunity to get long and short by space of the hourlies, and I double take on the smaller time frame, little confluence there, and take my stab at the trade. And obviously, you have like intraday levels that are marked for you, like trading, getting as POC, looking at LVNs, like what Bish does, like the LVNs areas to trade at. I'm looking at IB high, IB low, I'm looking at 30-second opening range high, low, the open. Usually bullish for me is above the open, above POC, or above open, above open, above POC, or above VWAP. Short underneath, pretty simple. Um, Obviously, range bottom markets, you want to see on the footprint a little bit tighter range if you're breaking above, by area high, like we did today. Looking for longs up against, like previous day by area high, or current day by area high, and that'll be your long opportunity, right, to get long short, or re-long. On the short side, however, the same setup can be said. Taking the hourly sale imbalances again at the highs, let's say like 645 area. This is what 850. Way back here. Uh, 850. Yeah, I can see a possible short there, but we're just wrapping up from the lows. I didn't want to take any shorts, and there's so much interest in buying at the bottoms. Didn't feel like shorting after that. But the same thing can be said. I mean, looking for shorts, you want to make sure you have that confluence. Um, Sellers at the highs, sellers at the highs. You sell with the sellers. Um, Look at the DOM, look at the tape, and see if it's in your direction or not. Take the stops tight, and keep chucking forward. I take trades left and right to see if they stick. I mean, but at least I have a little bit of an edge where I am selling with sellers and buying with buyers. I don't think it's too hard to understand that concept, at least, and the timing's important, right? Like it's imperative you get in on that first initial spike, especially with the Nasdaq. It moves so fast. Um, you have to be quick with your entries and probably even quicker with your exits. I do trade with like 3 lots at a time, so I do have room to scale. Uh, if you're on like you're on the micros, it's a little more forgiving, in my view. If I were to play micros, it would be like 5 lots starting. Now, if anyone can tell me how I can automate some triggers, that'd be nice. If I can have someone do that, look for those setups. I think mine are very simple. Like I said, I just look for responsive buyers on both ends, on both high time frame and low time frame, and get in when the buyers show up. The tape lights up. I'm in with them. Take the trade. If I see like the DOM stacking above, or see some liquidity stacking above, I know it's a possible target, possible sells. You can get in before they front run it. You can hold to see if they you know bid them all up. Um, I personally have like to have runners in, so I have 1 lot in. For those who are trading, one lot at a time, it's hard to scale and hard to know when to take profits. If you're trading one mini, but if you're using one mini, then I might just take the micros. That way you have an easier time to scale in and out. NQ right now is currently ramping. We are through single prints, or trading in single prints right now. This is going to bed. You guys have any questions?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
threshold full imbalance. Oh, let me show you my settings. For the hourly, 8 on keyboard. Here's my imbalance levels. And actually have these set up in a way where I have the fonts bigger based on the size too. Or you can do color, whichever makes more sense to you. But I have the font size indicating how strong the imbalance is. 300%, 400, or 600. I think on my other chart I have this colored differently.
Wait, so you never listened?
And Beavis, yeah, I'll go over my how you set up my levels. Walk us through how
Wait, isn't everything
how you
else
set.
on
Which levels you're talking about?
this?
These delta pivots.
God.
Yeah, let me
Okay.
pull that up. So these are the automated ones. These are just pivot points from MotiveWave. They're classic, mainly for retail traders. They're it's breaking. Retail traders there, kind of seeing where their pivot is at essentially. And then the 15-minute, or how I find my delta pivots. 15-minute chart on the Nasdaq. I look for the highest delta percent. That's a percent, and look for that highest volume. I only take probably 10 a.m. my time onwards to pull into the next session. It's either Globex or RTH. Next RTH. So here's the levels here. I'll go over that. Ape, one sec. The 2.2%. That's pretty high for that level. There's a 5.15% at the 11:15. 12:15. There is 18,000 trades with 6.62%. And then you have the anomaly on the hour to close. I don't take this at all. So I do like this. 18,000 trades. You have 6.6% in volume. And I'll take my custom extension tool here. I go from the high to low. This one is 73 points worth. I'll take that. Sometimes if the candle body is like, nearing the end, the wick ends, then I'll take the candle body. Because this is so wicky, I do take the top, the high and the top, or high low, sorry, and bring that into play. And this would be our delta pivots going into the next day. So the 50% is our delta pivot, looking at 76625, and look at RTA. Look at yeah, pretty darn close. Held that pivot pretty well. And this is the Globex. Of course, they throw the SMA right there. And yep, pretty straightforward. It's the reason why I chose that strategy. So usually the highest delta percent would mean the highest interest of trades, also with a high amount of volume traded in that 15-minute bar. I look at 15-minute chunks is to kind of appropriate yourself to the opening periods on the TPO, kind of lining that up. Kind of hard to do like the volume. How to do volume? I guess you just strictly volume, like 5K volume and X%. But I typically would like to use that notion with aligning it with period opening and closes. And the custom percent, these are the custom percent ratios that I like to use. So again, the 50% extension is the session delta pivot. Long above, short below, essentially. Uh, Usually, when pricing gets around to 250% is when I like to consider a version. Sorry, my dog's barking. Sorry about that. a little cranky. So for that being said, these are the custom phones I use right now. I am using some different ones as a. I'm using different ones, but I am playing with some other settings. But this is what I use primarily. And yeah, so for example, if you compare these levels up with things like volume profile levels or market profile levels, you know that's an area of confluence. It just adds a little more, I guess, awareness in those areas that are marked going to the next day. So if these areas are hit, they line up with volume profile levels, market profile levels, then you know it's an area of interest. Probably an area where you should look at to consider taking trades, and then look how the reactions are on the footprint on both the high time frame and short time frame. And ape, my strategy just does change on Globex. I don't trade Globex a whole lot, but if I were to, my settings would change on the footprint. At least to show me more information. I keep the 40 tick on the hourly. I keep that the same. But for the tick rate here, or the tick, I probably would do a lower down to see more data. But most likely would like to use anywhere from 8 to 12 ticks on NQ. That's to see a little more information on each bar. But it's the same. So right now, if this is an obvious imbalance here that forms here. You have this 850 area, 850 to 860. It is up against a SDP level here, so 175% extension from the delta pivot itself. Look to take short. Now you do have a little high rotation tick here at the high, so 661. Probably lean short up against that 661 against previous sell imbalance here. See if this holds up against a STP level here. The short would have been brand sell imbalance. I mean, I would have probably taken it here with stops above it, probably. But I missed that trade already. But that would have been my scalp. Do have view up down below. Yeah, no problem. Let's see if I can do this right. I think I lost this. I lost this chart over here. I can't grab it. That's funny. Anyway, any more questions for me? Um, but every trade I took today was essentially long up against stacked out buying balances all today. Kind of watched 200 points go by me. I could have held a little bit longer on runners, but I had work and wanted to exit before that. I think another one was like, I think was against Pac was another one before we just rallied to the moon. I think was that 11,500 was it? I think 11,500 was Pac, and we just rallied from there. Yeah, we were here, like definitely this area on the. Well, we'll get him again tomorrow. Tomorrow should be a little volatile. You have, I think you have ISM numbers tomorrow. We have FOMC and you have JOLT jobs numbers. I'm going to trade a little bit lighter. Definitely not going to take too much size tomorrow. It seems to always be tomorrow will be really volatile. But yeah, this short isn't looking too good if you were to take it at the moment. Reason being is you have these buying bounces that are kind of supporting this area, so they're kind of a rebid zone. NQ, I think get too much further, you have some bid support or some active buyers down here. Some selling absorption happening down here at 805, 802, at 100% extension. Buying bounces down here, so the short isn't looking too hot if you were to take it solo, kind of seeing where things are shaping up. I wouldn't take that short necessarily just because it's there, but if I were to, stop would have been above buying balances or selling balances and past the high tick or high swing. Got it. Cool. Oh, okay, thank you, Dan, for that little review. We'll see what shapes up tomorrow. Don't think I'll be trading tonight just because it's a little messy. But if you have any more questions, feel free to DM me. Or you can post it in Trade Desk and I'll get to it. I'll leave the stream up for you guys. If you want to just keep that up, I'll just leave it on.